THE. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. So what I want to do is, this is a service I do for students that are in the Black Business School. We could do a rapid fire Q&A. You ask me one sentence questions, and I will give you one, two, maybe three, four, five, six sentence answers. So let me know what you would like to know in terms of what's going on in the market. I will give you a quick overview, give you something to think about real quick as we prepare the discussion. So you guys know that recently there's been a lot of crazy activity, surrounding this crazy thing called the coronavirus, which, people are having a hard time sort of figuring out what this thing means, what it's going to do for the economy long term, where the market's going to go. I don't know if you guys know, but the market last week actually had an up week. How many of you knew that? How many of you knew that last week the stock market actually went up a little bit? I think that's a surprise for a lot of people. A lot of people thought that it was doom and gloom and everything's dead and dying and there's no opportunities there, but that's just not true. Basically, I guess when it rains, if you're selling rainwater, then you can win. Right now, a lot of the discussion is around sort of figuring out what this coronavirus is going to do to the economy, how bad it really is, what role the media is playing in terms of using scare tactics that draw instant headlines. I personally have stated to you guys in previous conversations that I've always been trying to sort of figure out, are we going to even be talking about the coronavirus a month from now? I don't know if we're going to talk about it even a month from now. And so that's kind of the confusion there. Now, some of you, I know we might have gotten confused because of the daylight savings time. So in order to help those students who couldn't make this Q&A, maybe because you got the times wrong, it's okay. What I'll do is I'll take the recording and I'll email it out to all of you who registered here. And I want you guys to know that there are people that are not inside the school, inside the webinar, that are watching and listening. But I will answer student questions from the Black Business School students first. So do me a favor, put your questions in the Q&A section, and I will answer your questions first. Now, first thing I'm going to let you guys know is on Monday, you should be expecting a big drop Monday morning in the stock market. The Dow futures are basically transactions that are made now, but they apply to the future. The futures market is predicting a 1,000 point drop because there's a big price war with oil. Apparently, there were some heavy negotiations occurring, between the different OPEC nations, and those negotiations broke down. And so there's this oversupply, this glut of oil that's going to come out, and it's going to cause further chaos in the markets. Now, how do I see it? I tend to be a long-term bull. My philosophy on investing tends to be very bullish. So I'm probably going to buy. I'm probably going to be out there buying stuff, and I buy the dips. And if it dips, if it keeps dipping, I keep buying. And that's my philosophy. I'm not telling you that always works. Definitely not in the short term. But in the long term, it always has worked. In the long term, a person who buys all dips long term has always done well in the market, better than people who didn't buy all dips. Now, a lot of you are in the stock market investing class. If you haven't tried out the stock market investing class, you can try it out. Test it out for $1. The first month can be $1 at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. THE, that's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. It's a great program. You'll learn a lot, and you should also bring your kids. We have a business school for children at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So somebody please type that in so others can see it. So here's what it says in CNBC. Stock futures tumbled in overnight trading Sunday as investors continued to brace for the economic fallout from the spreading coronavirus, while a shocking all-out price war added to the anxiety. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged about 1,078 points, pointing to more than a 1,000-point loss in Monday's market debut. So basically, they expect that on Monday, you're going to see another big drop. I mean, it's just like, this crazy roller coaster. It's like, boom, 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 and you're just dropping, right? Now, is that going to stop? When's it going to stop? Nobody knows. The S&P 500 futures also indicated a 4% drop on Monday. The sharp declines in the futures market signaled more turbulence ahead after a roller coaster week that saw the S&P 500 swing up or down more than 2.5% for 4 straight days. So in the midst of all these crazy drops, you did have some crazy jumps, that occurred last week. So that was actually, good for those of you who bought dips. If you bought the dip, then, if a dip becomes less of a dip, so if a major loss becomes a minor loss, then that ultimately becomes a win. A minor loss minus a major loss is a positive number. Now, some other factors that are occurring that they're talking about, socio-political factors. North Korea apparently fired an unidentified projectile, according to the South Korean military, and that's yet another type of stability, any type of instability issue, any type of uncertainty tends to drop the market. So Saudi Arabia on Saturday slashed official crude selling prices for April in a sudden U-turn from previous attempts to support the oil market as the coronavirus hammers global demand. The move came after OPEC, basically the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries, where they control the price of oil. The talks collapsed Friday, prompting some strategists to see oil prices crater to $20 this year. That's really, really low, $20 a barrel. It's going to be interesting. Quote, crude has become a bigger problem for markets than the coronavirus. According to Adam Crisafulli, who is the founder of Vital Knowledge, it will be virtually impossible for the S&P 500 to sustainably bounce if Brent continues to crater. So international benchmark Brent crude futures plummeted 30%. And so oil right now is the big conversation point for this week. The coronavirus, I guess, is going to have to take a backseat to OPEC in terms of what's happening in the Middle East. Investors have already been on edge about the coronavirus outbreak that caused major stock averages to tumble into correction territory. As of Sunday, global cases of infections have climbed to more than 109,000, with about 3,801 deaths. The situation is worsening in the U.S., with New York, California, and Oregon all declaring a state of emergency. Investors continue to seek safer assets amid fears that the coronavirus will disrupt global supply chains and tip the economy into a recession. I think that a recession is something that we could probably expect. I think that you're going to see some prolonged economic decay as a result of the fact that supply chains have been impacted by the coronavirus. You've got major corporations that are reacting in a pretty significant way. And so you're going to sort of find a new normal in terms of economic activity, which will be interesting in terms of affecting the next presidential election, because one of the things Trump has always bragged about is the state of the economy. Well, he probably won't be able to brag about that by the time the election rolls around. He'll probably have to explain that away. And I'll tell you, that election is going to be something else. You got Kamala Harris just came out and endorsed Joe Biden, but then there are people that are saying interesting things about Biden, that this guy's brain might not be 100%, that he's actually gone on the campaign trail and said some stuff that's real interesting. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but I think that one time he announced that he was running for Senate, and they said, no, you're actually running for president. He gets the days wrong. He mentioned, I think he called himself Biden, and he meant to say Obama, and he said, I think he wanted to say Obama and Biden, and he said, Biden, Obama, or something, right? And all these other little things he's doing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Plus, as a black man, I if you want to know what I think, I'm not supporting Joe Biden because I'm still thinking about that 1994 crime bill, and there are people that are still in prison for that 1994 crime bill. So in order to impress me, you're going to have to let some of those people out, and that's just my 2 cents. So, but I'm not telling you what you need to do. I personally think you should do what's best for you and your family, whatever that is, and don't let anybody talk you out of that. Let me see here. Does anybody have if you have a question, if you're inside from the Black Business School, put the question in the Q&A section, and that way I can see it. If you put it in the chat, I won't see it. So let me see here. Let me read more to you. Investors continue to seek safer assets. Okay, we talked about that. Quote, the idea that lower gas prices is going to put more cash in workers' pockets and give consumer spending in the economy a boost doesn't seem to cushion the blow for stock market investors. Exactly. I mean, you're going to see a drop in the price of gas, but that's not going to override the negative effects of reduced price of oil. Somebody said he called his wife his sister. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I got to look that up. But they're writing a lot about Joe Biden's mistakes on the campaign trail, and so I wonder. I told you guys from the beginning. I kind of always wondered, should we really have a bunch of super geriatric people running for president? Not to say the senior citizens are not important and meaningful and relevant citizens, but we got a grandma that's about 80, and sometimes she has senior moments where we would be concerned about making her into president of the United States. I mean, she could be president of our house. She can, we'll let her babysit the kids, stuff like that. But let's just keep it 100. When you get above 70, things happen to your brain, and that's a very stressful job. So I do wonder. I really wonder how that's going to play out, but I'm not going to say much more about it. I just, something to think about. So anyway, let me see here. Let's see. Chris Rupke, who's MUFG Union Bank's chief financial economist, said they want out big time. The sky's falling. Get out while you can. Wall Street's woes have to eventually hit Main Street's economy hard. So a lot of people are getting out of the stock market and moving toward bonds. I'm not getting out of the stock market. I like to buy into the dips, but I am diversified. And so I have money in real estate and entrepreneurship and other things. Also, a lot of people are moving toward maybe companies that pay dividends, because companies tend to hold on to their dividends, which gives you a return even if the stock price is falling. Gold has risen tremendously. It's crossed $1,700 an ounce, which is its highest level since December 2012. Gold is a place that people tend to go when they get nervous, and gold is going up, which means a lot of people are very nervous. The Federal Reserve announced an emergency rate cut last week to combat the economic impact of the virus, but that didn't do anything. Donald Trump just signed a big bill for $8.3 billion to aid medical research in light of the coronavirus. The S&P 500 has fallen 8% this year after suffering its worst week since the financial crisis at the end of February. The benchmark is down more than 12% from its recent peak. So what I'm seeing is I think you're going to continue to see more and more bad news. I think it's going to start off with the coronavirus. That's going to be the headline every day for as long as the virus keeps growing. And then you're going to start seeing bad economic news. That is the result of the bad news that has come out about the virus. So you're going to see, I think the happy days might be behind us. I think the Fed is going to make a move and try to save the economy. But, there's a point where, the economy can't be saved, and maybe you shouldn't save it. Maybe, you're supposed to have natural ebbs and flows. Our economy was unnaturally robust for a prolonged period of time. The stock market was insanely, ridiculously high and skyrocketing for many, many years. And I just always have felt that there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. I knew that this day was eventually going to come. I think that what throws it off a little bit is I wish it had come more naturally instead of coming as a sudden shock. This virus hits and suddenly everybody thinks they're going to die. So they all start freaking out and companies start shutting things down and airlines, cancel flights to China. I don't think that's the right way to do it. But there was going to be a point where we were going to have to do it. It was going to happen. So let me see here. The URL for the dollar trial in the stock market program is theblackstockmarketprogram.com. THE. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Feel free to go check that out if you'd like to participate in our stock market program. So let's see here. Ashley says, I used to buy stocks quarterly as the market was high. Is it a good idea to buy weekly during the dip? It's really up to you. I know people that do both. I buy daily, actually. I just buy on a regular basis. I like to go shopping in the stock market. I think that's fun. I like to spend money, but I don't spend money on clothes and cars and shoes and, and vacations. I'd rather spend money on assets. Because assets, you feel like you're spending money, but you're really not spending money. You're just putting your money in a safe place so that it can grow. And here's the thing, investing is always better than spending. Investing is always better than spending, because if you spend, all your money's gone. But if you invest, even if the value of the asset drops, at least you got something to show for it. I bet a lot of you, if you think about it, think about how much money you were making in 2015. Let's say you were making $50,000 a year in 2015. You probably don't have anything. A lot of you may not have anything to show for any of that money that you spent in 2015. You spent $50,000, and I bet there's a good chance you may have nothing to show for that, or very little to show for that. So if you taken 10,000 of that 50,000 and put it into some investments, the values probably would have gone up. But even if they didn't go up, at least you'd have something to show for it. So that's the idea. You want your money to give you something to show for it, so your income doesn't just flow through you and out. You want it to sort of stay there. Let's see here. Okay, so I just want you to know, if you have a super long question, I'm only going to read the first sentence. So I see a question about Tim Draper. And there's a lot there. There's a whole paragraph. Don't send me a whole paragraph. Just give me a quick question. Let's see here. So I see something about Tim Draper, who's a billionaire who's got off on the ground floor of such companies like Facebook, Twitter, and Uber. Says he took his money out of the stock market and put it into crypto. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't take my money out of the stock market and put it into crypto. That's just, I think that's very risky. But it doesn't mean, it can't work. It just means it's super risky. Sometimes risky things work, but sometimes risky things leave you broke. So I don't believe in that. Thoughts on a FedEx acquisition? Let's see here. Terrence has an article here from Forbes.com. Could shipping war with Walmart force Amazon to bid for FedEx? Could the shipping war with Walmart force Amazon to bid for FedEx? That would be interesting. I don't know if the regulators would allow that, but then again, they don't really enforce antitrust law very much. So they might. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon just eventually buys everything and everyone that it can get its hands on, because it tends to be a pretty strong company that just seems to grow without trying. Let's see some other things I'm noticing. Let's see here. So the big words for this week are oil and coronavirus, and fear, really fear of the coronavirus. So the oil situation is more real. The virus situation is more psychological. And so what I really see is I see further decline and further problems due to the fact that everybody's just scared. I think eventually, once the media gets tired of reporting and updating you every single day that the coronavirus is has killed 5 more people, then I think that's when you might see a better day. But even then, by then, the damage will be real. I mean, I want to ask you guys, let's do a quick survey. How many of you, give me a yes or no. Do any of you know anybody who's been infected by the coronavirus? I'm not saying that means it's fake, but give me a yes or no. Do any of you have a friend, a cousin, a baby mama, a parent that has been impacted by the coronavirus? I mean, impacted meaning like not impacted by somebody's actions in response to the coronavirus. I'm talking about like, have they caught the virus? Did they even say like, hey, I was at a basketball game and I shook hands with a guy who had the coronavirus and I'm scared, or I caught it and I got well from it, or I have a buddy who died from it. Like, does anybody know anybody who had the virus or was impacted by the virus? I'm not saying that makes it fake. I mean, epidemics start off small, but I almost feel like the panic is a little bit premature. I don't go as far as Elon Musk. Elon Musk said that the whole panic is stupid. I don't agree with that, with it being stupid, but I do agree with it being a little bit hyper emotional. I think that we are reacting to things that are not yet real. And now I saw someone say that it's just the flu. It could be. It looks like the flu, but it may not be the flu. It may be, something worse. And so I think you have to be cautious. You got to be cautious. I watched a video about where these viruses come from. And they basically said that these wet markets, in China are just the nastiest places you've ever seen, because they bring all these animals together and they bring crazy, they'll have bats and puppies and pigs and horse meat, and just all this crazy animals together, and they slaughter the animals right there. And what happens is the animals' bodily fluids mix together. Like they'll have animals stacked on top of each other. And so blood, and I know it's going to probably make some of y'all want to throw up, but like blood and pus will like drop onto the animals at the bottom. So what they said with the coronavirus was like, okay, so I think they said like I think it was, let's say, for example, SARS came from, chickens or something, right? I don't remember if it was chickens or pigs or whatever, right? But and then like Ebola came from bats. Well, they said that the coronavirus has to go from a bat to some other type of animal. I forgot which animal it was. And then it has to get to humans. So it's got to go through 2 different animals. So the only way this virus could even exist is if those 2 animals were in the same place and exchanging bodily fluids, which is about the nastiest crap ever, right? And so effectively, these Chinese markets, and they talked about the history of the regulation and how they started letting them go out and just hunt these exotic animals. Because China has a crazy history when it comes to famine and starvation and food. That's why you go to China, they'll eat any damn thing. Like they literally have, just all these damn, all these different types of food where you're like, wait, you can actually eat that part of the goat, and it's because China has a history of famine. And so when you're starving to death, you find a way to eat anything. So basically, these wet markets have all these crazy animals together, and all these viruses come out of those wet markets. And what makes it even worse is that China is not big on free information, allowing the freedom of information. So what they'll do is they will suppress any information that is against the economic interests of China. So when this virus came out, it spread quite a bit because the government was going out of its way to suppress anybody who blew the whistle and told people what was happening in Wuhan. But SARS kind of started the same way. And there's probably other viruses out there that we don't even talk about that are coming out of these wet markets. So really, China's got to change the way it does business in order to keep the world safe. Like they keep messing around, they're gonna kill everybody. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. David Murray says, should we move money into different funds in the 401k and try to protect it? I don't give investment advice in these conversations. It's more for educational purposes and discussion of current events. I just have to say that for legal reasons. But I would just sort of if you have an investment advisor, talk to your investment advisor if you want to take on less risk. I think that the way you respond is based on your risk tolerance, your investment horizon. So if you're a senior citizen, you're going to respond differently from somebody who's young. If you're young, honestly, a long horizon kind of weighs out all risk. Like I talk, or not all risk, but a big chunk of the risk. If you're diversified properly and you have a long horizon, then you're usually going to be okay. Now some other little factors might involve just your preference. So some people may want to move toward dividend paying stocks during downturns, or maybe incorporate some bonds into their portfolio. Like I sat down with our investment advisor and we were talking about, Alicia and I, we have this foundation that we started called the Boyce and Alicia Watkins Foundation. And the foundation's goal is to raise money for independent Black schools. We want to hopefully start a wave of people that want to create foundations to support our schools that come out of our community. So if you want to go take a look, you can go to boyceandalicia.com. You can get an invitation to the wedding, but then also we're asking everybody to donate to the foundation instead of actually giving us gifts. We don't want any gifts. We want you to give to yourselves. We want you to give to your children. And so we do ask for a donation, and we're very assertive about that because we want you to be as generous with your own people as you are with everybody else. And so anyway, we were sitting there, we were talking about what to do with the funds, and while we're sitting and waiting to figure out where to invest them. And he laid out, strategies like I got this percentage in bonds, this percentage in equity, blah, blah, blah. And the conversations like that tend to be very big picture. He said the big chunk of it's blue chip, and did you want to add any international assets and stuff like that? And I think I told him to take on a little bit more risk. I said shift a little bit out of bonds into equities and throw in some international exposure. And that's how you kind of talk when it comes to investing. You don't talk about individual stocks. Like we didn't sit there and say like what's a good stock to buy? Like where do I put my money? Which horse do I bet on? Because the stock market is not a casino. It's not a place where you just go and just roll the dice. It's a place you go and you lay out a portfolio. You lay out a structured set of assets that are going to grow over time so that you and your family can be financially secure over time. That's the goal. You want to achieve financial security, which is the cousin of financial freedom. Security and freedom are pretty closely related. In fact, it's hard to have one without the other. In fact, financial freedom is not about having all the money in the world or buying all the nice stuff that you want. It's really about sort of being able to make decisions without money stopping you from making those decisions. Like, so it means getting up in the morning and saying, I don't really want to go anywhere. I want to sit and watch Netflix all day, and knowing that you're not going to have a huge financial consequence of that, or you're the one who makes that final decision. So that's what financial freedom means to me. And that's what I want you to eventually have for your family. So let's see here. Please stay on topic, sir, says Catherine. I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to even answer that question now, but I love you, Catherine. Rhonda, hey, Dr. Boyce, this is off subject, but I can only invest in one program, the Black Experts or the Black Real Estate Program. How can I switch courses with the two without penalty or charge? The Black Real Estate can help me more at this time. Can I combine the two? Yes, you can, Rhonda. If you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, support@theblackbusinessschool.com, tell them that I said to help you out and to get you what you need. And if they have any questions for me, they can message me. And I'm just going to say Rhonda is, I love Rhonda. And Rhonda, I want you to take care of Rhonda and give her what she needs. So we're here to work with you in the Black Business School. We're not here to get every penny out of your pocket, but we do need some of those pennies because all this in infrastructure development, all this investment requires resources. And so what we just ask of our people is not, we don't ask you to do anything out of the ordinary for us. We just ask you to support us at least a third as much as you support white universities, as much as you support businesses that are outside your community, because we're out here working for you. And you see this, you see these results, you see all the different cities we're going to this year, all those events, all those gatherings, all those activities, all those resources in terms of development and structure. There's an investment required for that. And so we're asking you to invest in us, and then we invest in you. So whatever every dollar you put out into the Black Business School, we want to give you $10 worth of value. And if you don't feel like we're giving you $10 worth of value for every dollar that you put in, then just let us know. We'll give you more value, or we'll give you a refund. So that's the deal that we make with the community. It's reciprocity, and that's how trade actually builds an economy. That's how you build a community. And speaking of that, speaking of investment, one of the things that I've told you guys that we love to do, or that we're working on, is we're working on building a Black Hollywood. I don't just talk about it; we are about it, and we do it, and we get it done. And we've got teams out in Los Angeles and Atlanta, in New York and Chicago that are actually shooting different kinds of films and other related content that relates to the Black community, that are allowing us to tell our story in our way so that we can create our own celebrities, have our own award shows, have our own blockbuster films. We partnered with Kweli TV, which is the Black Netflix. Kweli is spelled Kweli, Kweli, Kweli TV. They have great Black films on Kweli TV on the app. And so one of the things that we do every month is we have something called Black Movie Night. Black Movie Night is where we feature a Black filmmaker and we show a Black film, and we have a great Black discussion. It's all online, so you don't actually have to go anywhere. You can watch it from the convenience of your own home. So what I want to do is I'm going to share this link with you guys for Black Movie Night, where you can register for the next Black Movie Night. So I'm going to put this in the chat. So everybody, please feel free to go register for Black Movie Night. If you don't see the link somewhere, just go to drboyseminars.com, drboyseminars.com. And we're actually going to show, I think we're going to show, I don't know which of his films we're going to show, but we're going to have Mark Harris here. Oh, he's going to show Black and Privileged. And so we're going to screen Black and Privileged with Mark Harris. Mark Harris has had films on BET, TV One, all these other places. And I love Mark. He's out of Chicago. And what I respect about this guy is that he went out of his way to reject Hollywood. He's rejected the chaos and the debauchery that comes out of Hollywood. And he is a filmmaker that has been very vocal about explaining why the Hollywood culture is not, and the images and the representations of Black people are not healthy for our community. So Mark Harris, this is my buddy. He's coming in, and we're going to celebrate him as a filmmaker. So I'm going to get a big audience. We're going to show his film. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk super Black and have a really great time. So the URL is in the chat. If you're watching on Instagram, just go to drboyseminars.com. You can find the link there. Let's see here. When am I going to be in New Orleans? New Orleans, it's going to happen soon. Julian Gordon, our Dean of Real Estate in the Black Business School, is out of New Orleans, and he runs a lot of the Black REI Group out of New Orleans. And by the way, if you didn't see Julian's great presentations this weekend, feel free. You can still join the program. Before midnight, you can get a major discount on his real estate investment group. He has a club of real estate investors where they don't just learn about real estate, but they actually go buy properties and things like that. So if you're interested in joining that group, you can go to theblackreigroup.com, theblackreigroup.com. REI stands for Real Estate Investors Group. And so I'm going to go out to New Orleans a couple of times. One is Julie and I, we're going to do something out there on behalf of the Black REI Group. And then also when the Essence Fest goes down, we've already got our venue cleared out. We're going to be down there at the Essence Fest. So if you come down to the Essence Fest, just know that I'll be there with you, and we'll get a chance to really do something special. Also, I'll be at the Power Networking Conference with George Frazier next month. I'll be speaking in Hanover, Maryland. I'll be doing a day-long seminar there. You can go to springintowealth.com if you want to come to Maryland. That's springintowealth.com. And then also the All Black National Convention is in October. You should definitely come to that. And then also, of course, we get married July 11th. Alicia and I, you all are invited to that. And so every time we all get together, it's always it's an event. It's always an event. So let me dig in and see what questions you have. Okay, what was the movie screening website? Go to drboyseminars.com and you can find it there. I would say blackmovienight.net, but don't do that. Go to drboyseminars.com, and you can actually get a pass there. And also, I shared the link with you guys in the chat. I'll put it back in the chat again in case you guys didn't see it. Let me see here. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. So there's the link. So you can register at that link for Black Movie Night. Okay, so let's see here. So as far as the stock market goes, that's what I'm seeing right now, and that's what I expect this week. What I'm going to do is all through the week, I'll give you updates, and we'll get together and talk about what I'm seeing. If you haven't subscribed to the Black Financial Channel, make sure you subscribe, theblackfinancialchannel.com. That's a daily financial news and commentary platform designed to give you financial news and commentary from a Black perspective. And so I want you guys to be investors. If you're not an investor, it's okay, but I want you to start today. So everybody right now, make that pledge that today or tomorrow, you're going to do something on behalf of your children and your family. You're going to go buy a couple shares of stock, do it tonight. Download maybe Acorn Stash, Robinhood, maybe the Cash App. It's on the Cash App. What's my Cash App? I think it's $ Dr. Boyce or something. So if you ever want to send money in the Cash App, I won't send it back. So feel free to do that, because this stuff is expensive to run. Am I going to Tariq Nasheed's event? Yes, I am speaking at the FBA conference. I got to text Tariq and find out what's going on with that. But I am going to be at Tariq's conference. I am going to speak there. Okay, what will I be discussing in Atlanta this weekend? That's right, I forgot I'm going to Atlanta. If you live in Atlanta, I'll be in Atlanta on the 13th with Andre C. Hatchett. You can go to drboyceatlanta.com. We're going to do what we call a Black Wealth Talk, where basically I'm going to give a lecture on the keys to financial security. Andre is going to talk about real estate and also what it takes to become a mobile notary and to start a notary business. And so if you're interested in Atlanta, there's only 50 seats. So it's going to be a small venue, small event. It's designed to be small. Feel free to go to drboyceatlanta.com. That's drboyceatlanta.com. That'll be on the 13th in just a few days. I'm going there for other reasons, but I thought I would just go there for that. And actually, I got a text from David Banner today where he asked me to come on his podcast. And I think Banner's in Atlanta. I love David Banner, by the way. I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he's a great guy. And he's great, not just in private, but in person. He just texted me back, and I told him I'm in Atlanta. I said, what city? I'm going to Atlanta. He said, damn, bro, I'm in Chicago shooting this week. So it's funny because I live near Chicago. So I'll just text him back and tell him I'm in Chicago. So I just want to make it public. I'm a big fan of David Banner. So I ain't got an issue with all the rappers, just the stupid ones. The smart ones are cool with me. The ones who love their people are cool with me. So you guys love your people. That's why we're all cool. So type B1 in the chat if you agree with me that our community needs to be first, that we're number one. We matter more than anybody else. And if you ain't doing nothing for Black folks, then you ain't doing nothing for me. So type B1 in the chat so we can end this conversation on code and on the same page. And I hope that this discussion was helpful to you. And once again, if you want to try out the Black Stock Market Program for $1 for the first month, go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com, THE. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And also our children's program, our business school for kids, is at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great day. And I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to go eat some food and hang out with Alicia. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.